And then the other big news from today too, the judge dismissal of the SEC appeal against Ripple, which I think we all probably thought was coming eventually. This is just another huge L for the SEC. And I saw someone had tweeted the 10-page document from the judge that basically, outlined their reasoning for dismissing this appeal. And it was funny, they did the whole word search thing, and they had the word fail or failure in there like 10 times, just everything the SEC had failed at in this pursuit. Right. And again, these judges are human beings, and I imagine that they do take into account, they have knowledge of this. And we're not going to talk too much of the SEC and Richard Hart and PulseChain stuff here this evening, just because I think we covered it plenty with Rags to Riches last week, if you want to go check that out. But, this has to bode well, these precedents that are now happening. Everybody just was beating their chest just a couple of months ago about like the SEC doesn't lose. Don't you understand how many of these cases they don't lose? It's 98% win record, whatever. I mean, they're 0 for their last 3 or so anyway, when it comes to crypto. I mean, they just lost to Uniswap, Ripple. I mean, it's not looking good. So yeah, what do you make of this as far as because Ripple, we've talked about it. If anything in crypto you would deem a security, okay, and you wanted to, Ripple is probably the best case you could make. With it definitively now not being one and their appeals failing. I mean, where do you think this puts our ecosystem up against this corrupt organization and some of the others, that are sure to come, because all they do is just fire off a tweet about these are all securities, and that's all we've got to say about it. So what do you think? What do you think about this precedent?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think what it's saying for everybody else is you definitely stand a chance. These guys are overreaching. There's a lot of, like you said, precedent being set. And if Ripple isn't a security, then there are so many other things that aren't. We go back to when they came up with the Hex Investment Trust. I don't think they would have allowed the Hex Investment Trust to operate after looking at what the main product of it was, if it were a security. They pretty much deemed right then and there that it was a commodity. It's fine. It's sufficiently decentralized, even with the OA. I don't think that. I think they have less and less of a chance to win cases moving forward. In fact, it may even bring some of the others to. I don't know if they'll come back and appeal the decision or not, like Library and some of the tokens in the past. Maybe want to revisit. You know what I mean? If they want a little resurgence, if they've got the capital to do it, I suggest now is probably a good time to appeal decision and say, maybe we want another judge. Maybe we want you to look at this again after the things that you're saying now about some of these other things. So it's bullish. It's really bullish. Very good news for everybody. And yeah, I mean, we don't need to really touch on the whole suit by, for Richard Hart or whatever. Again, we don't know that he's even been served. So
yeah,
could be a big nothing burger in the end. And a lot of this stuff just kind of, they dismiss before it even gets to that point.
Yeah, or at the very least, at this phone conference that's coming up with the SEC and Richard Hart supposedly on November the 28th, we may find out right then and there that the judge just doesn't give a shit about it, and that maybe there's just not enough to go on with the SEC. So yeah, we'll see. But certainly, this happening is a great precedent. So really glad to see it for sure. Whether you care about Ripple or not, it's great. And yeah, Mr. Chick's definitely a big time losing streak here for sure. So.
Yeah. Said the judge had to do Gary's job and classify ETH for him, since he won't come out and say it.
Exactly.
Again, the non-clarity that they're giving is starting to upset a lot of the judges, and I think they're tired of it as well.
Yeah. And speaking of which, and I was going to look more into this. I typically don't care too much about this stuff, but yeah, we saw Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, get removed the other day for the Republicans, and now our man Patrick McHenry, Mr. Bowtie Boy, that has been challenging Gensler big time. And hey, Rags mentioned it last week on the stream, how much of this stuff is for show, how much isn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope it's not all just political theater, but that guy is now the interim speaker of the House. So that's kind of a cool thing. I don't know what the prospects are of him staying there, but I guess we'll see. So,
well, there was talk of Donald Trump being appointed to that position too. But I heard earlier today something about the fact that he has unsettled indictments against him, kind of disqualifies him at this point. So
it is convenient. I'm sure there will be more to come. So
yeah, I'm sure.